Game on! Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 45-year-old from Kincardine, Ontario, Canada. She was a member of Team Canada, a three-time inline world champion with Canada. She is the CEO of Mentally Fit, a professional speaker, which makes me pretty nervous today, and even gives some NHL players some lessons. And she is also an All-Ontario champion with the Kincardine Canucks, like yours truly. Welcome on, Kendra Fisher.
Good day. How are you?
I'm good. Nice to meet you.
Same.
Yes, I heard you were from Kincardine and you're doing some pretty cool things out there in the world, so I thought I should try and get you on because
I
this is
mean,
my home now.
the coolest thing I've done is came from Kincardine, so that's
Well,
it.
the Canucks are quite the wagon. I don't know if you've heard, but I coached under 13 boys to back all Ontario championships.
Oh, I'm sure that was all you're doing.
It was not. I didn't score a goal or get an assist.
No,
Yeah.
I love that.
Uh,
You know what? I still follow all of the Facebook pages for the Canucks hockey and I love watching all the championships coming out of there.
oh, it's so fun. And then you see them become friends for life, and you see them around town and the relationship they have forever.
Yeah.
It reminds me of when I was a kid. We won it with Woolwich. I'm from Elmira, and
Okay.
all those guys are still my best buddies.
I
All
love
these
it.
years later, you know.
I love it. Yeah. Oh, I get it. It's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, hockey is I credit it for so much of my life. It's incredible.
I agree. And it's weird because when I retired from pro when I was 32 and had no work experience, had to join the real world,
Yeah.
was moving to Kincardine where I didn't know that many people. I kind of resented the game and where it put me in life. And then
Yeah.
starting this and coming out the other side and remembering everything hockey did give me.
Yeah.
And now being back in the game as a minor hockey coach and helping out with the Ripley Wolves and stuff and doing the podcast, I think I love hockey more than I ever did now.
You know what? I think it's tough, right? Because it becomes our whole life and it becomes our way of life and it becomes our focus in life and how we kind of represent ourselves and it defines so much of who we are and our purpose. And then ultimately, as is the case with any athlete, and especially if you happen to have any form of success with your sport, you have to find life after that. And, it's a blessing to have hockey still be a part of life and to be able to find opportunity to do that is incredible, but it's tough. I mean, that's one that I work with a lot of people on in terms of a mental health capacity. And that is, what do you do when it's done?
Oh, the transition is not fun. And like
No.
for myself, you go from having off seasons off and you get to do whatever
Yeah.
you want and you just
Yeah.
train and get to see friends and family. And then all of a sudden you start the real world and you sit in an office for 40 hours a week minimum and they only give you 10 days off a year to start. It's a whole different world.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, my friend.
Um, so anyways, you came up in Kincardine. So where are you now and what are you doing?
I am in Milton, just outside of Toronto, and I'm on leave right now. I work as a firefighter. I've been on leave now for a few years. I also live with endometriosis, so dealing with lots of pain and had to have surgery last year. So that's been a bit of the journey. But other than that, I also work as a professional speaker, and that's kind of been my constant for the past 15 years.
Oh, that's really neat. And I saw you on one of your posts that you even talked with the Columbus Blue Jackets, which
Hmm.
is where I attended my only NHL training camp. I went to Blue Jackets training camp.
Oh, very cool.
And I was asked to kindly leave after 48 hours, but I was there for a bit.
At least they at least it was kindly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are
please.
they are elite with their manners. That's great.
So when you would go talk to the Columbus Blue Jackets, how did that come about and what do you say to them?
So a lot of my journey in sport and with mental health has been around my own story and having to leave Team Canada because of mental health issues and dealing with kind of learning how to manage my mental health in a way that I survived my life, let alone B, kind of got to a place in life where was managing it well enough that I felt like I was coping well. Um, and so, from a coaching perspective, with hockey players specifically, because that's just, I mean, I think I fall into that naturally, having spent as many years as I did in the sport. Um, I do a lot of work around coaching athletes into considering how they're supporting their mental health and how it allows them to be a whole athlete. I mean, I think we're really good, especially when you're looking at the professional levels, at training our athletes to be physically healthy. And, we're really good at rehabbing injuries, and we're really good at having the right staff in place to support somebody who's struggling with their stride or their shot or their rebound control. But we're pretty behind when it comes to how do we manage the fact that these are people
Hmm.
that are playing these sports, and those people have people things happening in their lives. And a lot of people, when you look statistically, don't recognize the depth of how far mental health issues go. You're looking at 1 and 2 people in that age group are dealing with mental health issues, and that's, typically across the mood disorder spectrum. So you're dealing with everything from anxiety, depression, bipolar, and then you're getting into the concurrency of addictions as well, which we know is unfortunately something that shows up in professional sports. Um, so I do a lot of work around one, coping tools and supports that are available to people that they can be using preventatively. I'm huge on how do we make somebody as strong mentally as we do physically in order to hopefully prevent them from ever getting to that place where we're seeing them entering the player assistance program or requiring supports that don't necessarily exist in that capacity.
I would say, yeah, from my experience, is mental health or strength or, the mental side of the hockey game. It
Hmm.
wasn't really talked about when I was coming
No.
up and playing. And if you did let the team know you were having issues or problems, they would look at that as a sign of weakness, not as something they could help with. And
Yeah.
guys would keep their issues to themselves
Yeah.
so that nobody considered them, not the tough guy or
Yeah.
whatever.
Well,
Um,
and so what you're seeing now, I think, when you're seeing, some of the bigger names ending up in the assistance programs, whether it's because of mental health issues or addictions issues, which are one and the same as far as I'm concerned, um, they start to pay a bit more attention. And it always sucks that that's what it takes to get people to pay attention. But when you start seeing names that you cannot say, this is not a high contributing player on the team, or when you're looking at franchise players stepping aside because they're not coping mentally. Now that kind of perspective has changed. But unfortunately, the supports and what's in place is still pretty static, which is, you've got each team's got their own team psychologist, psychiatrist that will call on if somebody's in crisis. But the piece that I really am interested in and filling and where my education is how do we preventatively support people? How do we give them those strategies and give them tools to handle what it's like when you're in the playoffs and your anxiety, your stress level is up here and you're traveling every other day and you are, dealing with things that no amount of physical, resilience is going to address. And that's a lot of it.
I it's interesting when you watch the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's like those guys go out and give it everything.
Hmm.
And if they make a mistake, the whole city and the fan base can blame them. But
Yep.
then the part I hate is when those guys have gone out there, given it them all. You can see how devastated they are when they just lost. And
Yep.
then they throw like 15 microphones in their face and ask them dumb questions that they have
Yep.
to answer, and they have to
Yep.
answer politely. And these are just
Yeah.
hockey guys wanting to play hockey.
Well, and the expectation not only is that they're going to answer and they're going to answer politely, but there's also this entitlement that comes from the public and from fans that we have this idea that they owe it to us. We have this idea that they owe us access to their entire existence, and one that's just incorrect and that's our failure as the outside. But also people don't recognize that not only you're dealing with young guys for all intents and purposes. If you consider, and if we're going to get, I'll get technical for a second, the male brain doesn't finish developing until they're 25.
Right.
So you're looking at a group of people who are barely or just fully developed from their neural stance. And for how much that's responsible for, yet our expectation is for them to have life figured out, sport figured out, answering to the world and carrying all of our emotions too.
And then
And
giving them millions of dollars to play with.
and we have no expectation that we should perhaps support this a little better.
Yeah,
And it's tough for me. I mean, I've been I have the privilege of having a kind of cool connection with a lot of different guys who are in places where I get to see this firsthand. And it's tough because we don't recognize that these are whole people. And I don't care how much they're making. You hear it all the time. Well, he's making 15 million a year. He signed up for this. Well, no. No, nobody signed up for getting torn apart
yeah.
because
And
our
they
team
offered
didn't.
him the contract. He just accepted it.
Yeah, and I mean, we somehow think that that gives us entitlement to address them in a certain way. And this is a problem that is so complex and has so many layers to it. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, my role and what I want to do is, I want to help these guys to and girls to understand, how they can better support themselves, things that they can address for themselves, tricks and like training so that they can learn how to cope with and manage different situations differently. And they're all things that people don't necessarily put the same emphasis on because it's not going to make your shot harder. But
Yeah,
ultimately, what I can show you and what I can tell you is actually does make your shot better. When
right.
you feel good, when you are mentally sound, when you are mentally strong, and when you are in a position where your brain and your emotions and your nervous system are supporting your physical body, you are a far better athlete than you'll ever be just being at your physical best.
And I always say happy hockey players play the best.
100%.
When I'm coaching under 13 boys, I want them to love being there. I want them to love playing hockey together as a team. So they're having fun. And then I find that they'll go home and practice more and shoot more pucks and
Yeah.
care more. But then when I was a player, when I was in Germany, I went to a team in Bietigheim. I had a great season. We won the championship. They'd chant my name during games, and I was just loved playing there. I loved everything about it. I felt unstoppable. And then the
Hmm.
next year, our budget goes down. We don't have the same team. I'm doing the same things, but our team's losing. And then they don't treat the players the same way. The
Hmm.
fans are very harsh,
Hmm.
and then you realize it affects your play when they don't have
Absolutely.
your back and you don't feel as comfortable on the ice, and it
Yeah.
changes your performance.
Yeah. And so I guess to answer the initial question about, when I'm speaking to teams, like if I'm down at Columbus or, anybody I'm working with is we can't have an expectation that the fans are going to behave in a way that we want them to. We can't have an expectation that the media is going to, show up in a way that we think is acceptable. We can't have an expectation of how your teammates are going to respond to you having a shitty day, pardon my language.
Hmm.
We can't
You can
we
swear
can't
in
ha-
here.
we can't have an expectation of the coaches to treat you in the way that you feel you need to be treated. So what things can we work on to make sure that you can manage those things emotionally and
And be
from a
prepared for it.
and so that it doesn't have the ability to have the same effect on you. And so
Mhm.
when you're looking at mental health, I mean, I don't just want to approach it from a performance mental health because I can tell you how to handle a high pressure moment, but I want you to be able to handle life too, and I want you to be able to go through the stages of life in a way that that doesn't have the same impact on you. And when it doesn't, we start to see fewer and fewer people end up in a place of crisis.
Well, and like fans and media, like they never know what's really going on with a
No,
person. And it's like I, from my
nor do
career,
they have any right to be honest.
right, and from my career, the times I didn't play well was when I had other problems going
Yeah.
on in life,
Yeah.
and trying to be right in there and in the pocket and focused for a game, and you have all these negative things going on the outside of hockey world,
Yeah.
it is hard to be ready to play.
Well, and I mean that's life, right? Like you
Yeah.
look at players right now. You look at, players who are losing friends. You look at players who are going through breakups. You look at players who are having children. You like these are huge life events that affect how you're sleeping, how you're eating, how you're feeling, how you are doing life on a day-to-day basis. And
Yeah.
we have complete acceptance for the fact that if somebody loses somebody or if somebody just has a kid, you're not expected to show up at the office the same way the next day. There's a whole lot more support and grace. But when it comes to people who are performing for a lot of money, we have this expectation that that somehow makes them capable of just taking this all in stride because they're getting paid enough, so they should be able to handle it.
Yeah.
They signed up for this. And I don't quite understand where, as a society, we decided that the dollar value of the contract and the status of the job you're in somehow dictates your ability to exist as a human, because it just
Well,
that's
a-
ludicrous.
and I find it's a lot up to the individual too, how you want to perceive things. Because I would say I've gone through some of the most difficult things I've ever gone through in the last year.
Mhm.
And then I heard a song, Good Day for Living. And that's what I've been trying to do is make every day a good day for living, no matter
I love that.
how difficult the things are that have been getting thrown at me.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it a good day for living, and I am going to laugh and smile and enjoy my day
Yeah.
no matter what, you know?
And then imagine in life we had actually been given some guidance on how to do that, instead of having to wait until the worst moments in our life to figure it out. And I guess that's where my focus is. My focus is, hey, we're all going to have those really horrible moments in life that are going to happen, and they're going to bring us to our knees. And
And it's also how you get up from that.
I believe that that is a set of skills, and that is a set of behaviors or participation that we can actually train ourselves to be better at, so that
I
when
agree.
those moments happen in life, we are not necessarily learning how to swim when we're already drowning. Instead, we're pulling on the skills that we've learned along the way so that we can maybe tread water a little easier.
I I totally get what you're saying. Yeah, and experiencing some of the things is what prepares you for
Yeah.
the next ones.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I guess we should get into like, so you grew up a Canuck. Would you have played with the boys or the girls? Because the girls hockey around here is huge now.
It's amazing, and I am, like, forever every time I see those, like, things come up where it's like, "We need a goalie for the U12 team." I'm like, "Hmm, why wasn't I?" Yeah, no, there was no girls hockey when I grew up there. Not a
No,
single no, I grew up playing with the guys. I played my bantam year in Kincardine, and then the inaugural season for the Grey Bruce Highlanders happened. I played for their inaugural, what is it, U16 or 18, whatever midget used to be.
right. Yeah, that's
Um
cool. So you played with the boys AAA too then.
I did, and, that was the year after that first season with the Highlanders. I moved to Toronto, and knowing I wanted to get into the women's Team Canada program, I had kind of already been guided towards I had to make that transition into women's hockey if I ever wanted that to happen. So when I moved down to Toronto, that was when I transitioned to women's hockey. And before that, actually, up in that area, there was myself, but then there was kind of, you go like Port Elgin, Hanover, Walker, and there was like a girl playing on each of the guys' teams.
Right.
So we ended up making a tournament team, and we actually came together and went to some of the tournaments down the city back then, and did great. I mean, we won a lot, and it was a lot of fun. But that was kind of my first exposure to women's hockey back then.
Yeah, when I was growing up, my sister played ringette because there was no girls
Yeah,
hockey really. And
yeah.
now you see what it's like. Like Kincardine can have 3 or 4 teams in one age group. And
I love it.
I've coached my daughter's team in under 9 house
Yeah,
league, and then I'm hoping to get her team again this season in under 11. And I can't wait. I had a blast coaching the girls, and
yeah,
they're hilarious. The dance
yeah.
parties that go on before the game and after. After a big win, there can be some serious dance parties in
You're
under 9
leading them,
house
aren't
league.
you? You are
I
leading them.
I can dance.
That's it.
There's no
That's it.
doubt. But then for spring hockey tournaments, I got a cool one. Was the boys I won with, oh, not this season, the year before. They all want to play hockey together so badly one more time that
Yeah,
one of our leaders, one of our assistant captains that year, has taken it upon himself to get everybody back together, find a tournament, organize a two ales and hockey tails spring
I
team,
love it.
and we're bringing back the all Ontario Canucks for one weekend.
That's awesome.
And they ordered jerseys with my logo on it and
Oh,
their
that's
names and
awesome.
numbers, and they called themselves Tat Elite, which is TAHT for two ales and hockey tails.
I love it. That's incredible.
Oh,
I wonder if I should try to put together my all Ontario team back from, what was it, Adam? I
I
can
think it's
imagine what
so,
that would look like.
yeah,
I
well,
know some of the guys are still up there.
Oh gosh, I have to go play a hockey game in Cardiff, Wales in June, and
Yeah,
I haven't exercised in like a decade.
you
So
might
now
want to get on that.
I'm gonna have to do something.
You might want to get on that.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. In the UK, if you play 10 years on a team, they give the player a game and he can invite back whichever teammates he wants for a game, and then he gets all the money raised from this game. And it's the guy I played with 10 years ago in Cardiff is finally having his game after 10 years, and he's bringing back like 30 beauties for the weekend, and it should be
I
something.
love it. I love it. He's gonna have to like get a sponsorship from a defib company.
Oh, it's I'm gonna need one there.
Little oxygen on the
Yeah.
bench.
So it said on your page there that you're the CEO of Mentally Fit. Is that your
Yes.
public speaking or what is that?
So it's kind of undergone a few evolutions. The predominantly it was kind of the umbrella for my speaking. And then just at the start of COVID, actually, I had started a community action program that was sponsored by Bruce Power. And it was a plan to kind of implement mental health strategies in rural communities based on existing infrastructure at next to no cost. And so all of the sponsorship dollars went to providing assist training to all of the first responders, teachers, and frontline mental health workers up Grey Bruce here on Perth. And so we made some great ground. And then unfortunately, COVID hit, and a community based program during COVID was not exactly something we could carry through with. It's something
Yeah,
that I'm hopeful to get back up and running simply because it's essentially a box solution. Any community could put it in place, and it costs next to nothing, but it creates an environment where people who are struggling with their mental health actually have access to resources that a lot of people can't afford.
right,
So it's there, it's in existence, and the benefit from it, and the great news from it all was all of those initial dollars went into having people trained in the appropriate areas to be able to manage mental health crisis in the front line. And so I was really grateful that we were able to, with Bruce Power support, get that in place, because through those following few years, I'm sure that many of those resources in the community were needed. Um, but ultimately, getting that action plan back in play is something that I can hopefully do, and it still exists under the umbrella of Mentally Fit. And we've created the nonprofit to support it. It's just a matter of kind of waiting for us to be in a position again to be able to do that.
right. Well, it is quite the community. You say Bruce Power gave you the dollars for it. I'm hosting a Two L's and Hockey Tales golf tournament on May 24th at Ainsdale in Kincardine.
Okay.
And it's amazing the support I've got. I just decided to do it because I wanted a reason to see all my friends and get my hockey family together.
Yep.
And I said I would raise the money for the hospital in town.
Lovely.
And I never asked anybody for anything, but Superheat, where I work, is
Yep.
sponsoring $1,000.
Amazing.
Um, the Liuna
Yep.
Union,
Yep.
they gave me $1,000, and
Amazing.
then the Power Workers Union
Hmm.
has given me $2,500.
Amazing.
And then there's one other that I shouldn't forget that also gave me 1,000. But like the support when they found out I was trying to raise money for the hospital, that we're
Hmm.
actually gonna raise a pretty good amount. And then
That's awesome.
I had to get 112 golfers because Ainsdale's so busy. They said if you want a shotgun
Yep.
start on a Saturday, you have to get 112 golfers.
Yep.
And gosh darn it, I confirmed my 112th golfer today.
Ah, well, you let me know if anybody drops out. I'm always up for a round.
Hey, you should be here. It's going to be a fun day with my hockey family.
You know what? Anything I can do to support Kincardine Hospital, I'm in. That's I lost my father there last year, and my mom's actually on the committee for the hospital up there. So
Is that right?
we,
Well, you should get a foursome together and come for some fun. I even have prizes getting donated.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Should be a fun day. And isn't it weird when you've had your hockey family around your whole life and you talk about the mental health part of that's your identity. But the hardest part for me was not having 20 best friends around every morning when you
Yeah,
get to the rink.
yeah, yeah. And I think people don't necessarily understand the power of connection, and they're starting to learn. From a mental health standpoint, I just finished another program, and the the effect it has losing that connection, especially as we get older, it's as detrimental as, not being physically active. It's almost as bad for you as smoking, and a lot of studies are showing, and it's just kind of that the the effect that having true connection has on us as people, and how many benefits that has to us both biologically and emotionally, are there's nothing comparable. So it makes sense to me, and it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and they don't necessarily understand where that loneliness comes from. But to be able to identify it, I strongly suggest everybody makes a golf tournament, because we all need to stay in touch.
Absolutely, and, for me, it was, yeah, the loneliness of moving to a new town, and then you don't have
Mhm.
hockey in your team and support around.
Mhm.
I had a tough go there for a bit,
Yeah.
and then, once you get out the other side, you have your community around and you get to know everybody around here, and you coaching the kids, you get to know the parents, the kid, and then
Yes.
it starts to have this family feel around here, and
Yeah.
it's totally different. But it's also part of the reason why I started the podcast was I missed all
Yeah.
my friends, I missed all my buddies, and I needed a reason to actually talk to them, because when you're not in a season with the guys and you switch teams or switch
Yeah.
what you're doing in life, there's really not that many reasons to talk,
Yeah.
until I started this, and now I just keep doing them because I keep getting to talk to my friends and I get to meet new people.
You know what? I get it. I mean, I've been a professional speaker now for 15 years, and it forces me to stay connected, and it's wonderful. I mean, and that's one of the things, right? You have to stay connected with intention. It's really easy to acknowledge the fact that we miss people. It's really easy to look back on old times and be like, I wish it could be like that. And it's very difficult, especially as we get busier, we get older, we have children, just work, life, everything, balance. And it's really easy to kind of get away from and find excuse for or accept that there's just no time. And ultimately, we have to intentionally make time, because connection's huge, and I totally understand.
Yeah, like this tournament's gonna be something. I got my Kincardine Canucks kids coming. I got some of the
Oh, I
parents
love it.
coming. I got Western Michigan Broncos coming when I played there. I got Elmira Kings that I won the Sutherland Cup with 23 years ago. Have a couple groups in.
That's
Um,
so cool.
it's gonna be so much fun to see
Yeah,
everybody, and even people I work with at Superheat have put in groups, and
that's awesome.
it it's gonna be like bringing my whole team.
I love it. I love that so much. I mean, I'm excited for you, and I've met you, what, 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Uh, no, I think that's so awesome, right? I think it's such an incredible opportunity, and I know Kincardine. I mean, Kincardine will always be home for me, and it has all of my heart. I was born there. I was raised there. Yeah, I can't say enough about it, but you're not wrong. I mean, the community there is just incredible, and their willingness and ability to show up for each other. I know a lot of my platform still exists right there with the Lake Huron sunrise and sunset. Sorry, so
Yeah.
I get it. You're speaking to my heart right now. I get all nostalgic, and I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm getting in my car and come home now.
Well and it's like, the people that are coming from out of town, like,
Hmm.
Kincardin's not close to anybody, and, like,
No.
I did move from Elmira to Kincardine and
Yep.
left my people and,
Yep.
made that decision 10 years ago or so,
Hmm.
and I haven't got to see those guys that much, but that they're
Yeah.
willing. I think I got about 6 groups coming from Elmira of my
That's
buddies from
awesome.
growing up,
Yeah.
and that they're all willing to drive the hour and a half to get here and have a weekend together. I'm just my heart's
That's awesome.
full right now.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. And I
Um,
think a huge message, right? Like, good for you for being honest about it, because not a lot of guys are willing to sit there and say, you know what, dude, I'm lonely, and I miss this. And I wish people were more honest about it, because I don't care who you are. Those moments when you are surrounded by people who you connect with,
mhm.
it's just so good for every single part of us as people and for each other.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, a lot of people don't admit that. So good on you for doing it, but even better on you for doing something about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't need to make money to have fun with my friends, so I'm glad the hospital get a boost out of it, and that
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
people that
that's
have
awesome.
sponsored, I never even asked. Like, they reached out to
Yeah,
me and said, "I hear what you're doing. Can we help?" And I'm like,
that's awesome.
"You sure can."
That's awesome. No, I love it. I mean, I'm coming up there for Doug Kennedy's memorial tournament up there in a
Yeah.
few weeks too. And I mean, It never ceases to amaze me. I get back there as often as I can.
Yeah, I was inspired by it with it was the Kincardine Classic they have. Ainsdale puts it on every year, and they raise money for all the minor sports.
Yep.
And Superheat, where I work, put me in the tournament, and I was golfing, and my CEO was there, Norm, and he presented the check for the minor sports, and it was like 38,000 something dollars. And I thought,
That's so
wow,
cool.
like they just had a golf tournament. Everybody just had a great time, and they
Yeah.
raised money for a great cause, and it
Yeah.
inspired me to bring back my golf tournament. And
Yeah.
it's neat that it's actually turning out because I had no idea if I could get 112 golfers. And then
Yeah.
with spring hockey, lacrosse tournaments, baseball,
Oh,
swim
yeah.
meets, there's
Yeah.
so many people that turned me down. I was getting a little stressed out, and we
Yeah.
still made it.
Yeah. No, I love it. And I mean, again, like a tournament like that, raising money for local sports. And I mean, sports at the end of the day, you and I both know the impact it can have on you, the connections,
The friendships.
everything you learn from sport, everything it teaches you about life. But I anything community based has all of my heart, and that's kind of how I live my life as well. So
I mean, it's got to be different for you than in Milton because, I'm not much of a city person and I really like the small town and the community vibe. Um, and
I
when you get into those cities, some people just don't always care about each other as much, you know?
I you know what? So I just spent 20 some odd years in Toronto actually. I'm new to Milton. Milton was last January I moved out here. So eh, what I've come to realize in life is you create the community you want to be in.
Right,
And that can be anywhere. And ultimately I could walk down the street in Toronto and I could find 1,000 people who are, too busy to recognize that I'm on that street with them. They're not going to wave. They're not going to hold the door. And I could be pissed off about that. Or I could go out of my way to make kindness a thing.
right.
And that's kind of where I exist. I mean, you want to be rude to me? I'm going to try to kill you with kindness. And
I
don't get
like
me
it.
wrong.
Yeah.
There are certain moments of city life that just don't mix well for me, but having spent that long in Toronto, being back to Milton feels a little bit closer to home for me anyway. It's certainly a much smaller surrounding than Toronto. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think we have the ability to create the community we want to be in no matter where we are.
That
And
makes perfect sense.
it's really easy to generalize and find ways to make it harder for ourselves, but I've spent enough time in my life making things harder on myself. I try to tend
Right.
to focus on trying to make things easier for myself now.
Yeah. Being happy and kind is a lot more fun than being angry.
You're right, and it's free too. Like
Yeah,
you
it
can
doesn't
just
cost
you can just
anything.
show up and be a decent person and try to be kind. And
Yeah.
I was raised on the golden rule, and I very much am somebody who lives my life believing that I can't expect anybody to do for my people that I'm not willing to do for them. So
What goes around comes around, they say.
yeah,
So switching gears though, because
yep.
I was a Narch champion in roller hockey when I was
Oh,
at Western Michigan.
okay.
Ice hockey was not going that well, so we
Yeah,
decided to have some fun and go in a roller hockey
I
tournament with
love
some
it.
guys from there and then some guys from Brantford, Ontario. And we went
Yep.
down to Florida to Fort Myers and we won Narch, the North
Mhm.
American Roller Hockey Championships, and we had a time staying on Fort Myers Beach with the trophy. But it said you were a three-time gold medalist with Team Canada.
I am indeed.
So I loved roller hockey and I wanted my son to get into it because I
Yep.
thought it taught me a lot about hockey and finding two-on-ones and seeing the ice. And you don't
Yep.
have to worry about getting killed by the big guys. You can just
Yep.
focus on vision and skills. But there's nowhere to play around here. So
So
how'd you do it?
yeah, well, I inline found me. It was actually kind of a funny story and one of the most terrifying tournaments of my life. The first time I played inline hockey was at Worlds. Not a good way to start. But when I left Team Canada because of my mental health, that was in '99, and it took me a good 10 years to get to a place where I was convinced I was going to survive and I was doing a lot better in life. And it just so happened 2010 the Worlds for inline were in Beirut over in the Czech Republic. And like you said, there's not a lot of inline hockey in Canada. We haven't done very well in terms of, you know, spreading the sport, spreading the knowledge, creating an infrastructure for it here. Because ice hockey is what it is here, right?
Hmm.
Whereas inline hockey in the rest of the world is, in a lot of places, bigger than ice hockey.
Yeah.
And the sport is huge. It's huge. And that's something that I learned, especially on the women's side, is there's, competitive countries right across the world. It's not a two country or four country sport, which was awesome. But in 2010, I'm sitting at home and I'm just getting through like 10 years of surviving, like literally finding a way to survive my mental health issues and getting back to life. And the girls who were at that time who made up Team Canada inline were all girls that I had played hockey with on in ice hockey. And their goalie blew her knee like
Mm.
2 weeks before the tournament. And because of where I was in my life and what I had just gone through, I wasn't working, I wasn't, at school at the time. And they called me up, they're like, "We're desperate, we need a goalie." I was like, "Guys, I have never played inline in my life." And they're like, "Well, you got 2 weeks to learn." And on so many levels, it was such a big moment for me because at this point, 10 years, 5 of those years I didn't leave my apartment. I wasn't traveling. I wasn't like I literally had just gone to war to fight for my life here. And now it's like, okay, can you get on a plane and fly to Beirut by yourself and play a sport you've never played in the world championships? And I was just like, this is not really a great idea, but sure. Because at that time it was like, okay, now I want to prove to myself that I'm going to survive. Like I'm good. I have got this. I can live with my mental health issues. I can still have a great life. And nobody really knew what I had been through. So they didn't know not to ask. And so I called up one of my teammates and I'm like, okay, this is what I've just been through the past 10 years. I'll say yes, I'll come. But like, if it goes all wrong when I'm over there, I need you to know that this is what I've just been through and I might come crying to you. Like if I'm
Right.
falling apart, I need an outlet here.
Yeah.
And she's like, yeah, I got you. So I did. I put on a pair of rollerblades a couple of times. There was a league here, and there's more leagues than you are aware of if you go looking for them, but they're mostly in the cities. And I put on my skates a couple of times just to get a feel for it. And as a goalie inline hockey, that you may as well be playing a completely different sport. Like it's not,
Mm.
you speak of like finding 2-on-1s and stuff. Well, like I have to relearn how to goaltend now because
Yeah.
you're not, there's no lateral movement. You're not sliding. You're not, and so, yeah, I had like 2 weeks to learn this sport, and, I flew to the Czech Republic and played in Worlds, and, we
And that,
managed to pull off a silver medal that year. We lost to the US in the finals, um, but yeah, fell in love with the sport. It was so cool because it was like rediscovering hockey. It was
right.
like I got this whole new sport of hockey that I got to start new, and it felt like a brand new sport, but my foundation from ice hockey was sound enough that that obviously transferred into inline.
Well, and I find inline, there's a different vibe around the arena.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
everybody's relaxed and they're just
Yeah.
wheeling around on their rollerblades, or
Yeah.
there's guys that are skating around topless. It's summertime. And
It's
then,
very like beach bum. Like, it's
right.
like the surfer boys of hockey.
Yeah, and then you get
Yeah.
to like instead of playing roller around Ontario, people go to these spring hockey tournaments, and the vibe is nowhere near a roller hockey
No.
tournament.
No, I love inline hockey. I mean, I can't say enough about it, and yeah, like, I played right up till COVID. I was still playing for Team Canada,
Really,
and,
eh? So
um
where all have you gone with Team Canada? Because it said you won 3 times, and then you won a silver too. So
oh, I've won a few silvers and bronzes too. The worlds that I have been to, so technically my first worlds ever, I didn't play. They needed a goalie on the bench, and I drove down to Rochester, put on the pads and put on a pair of like street roller blades and sat on the bench for them. So that doesn't count, but
right.
technically I was on the roster for that one. So you could find that if you looked. Um, I've been to Beirut in the Czech Republic. I've been to Bucaramanga, Colombia, where that was the first Worlds I won. Won again in Italy, Asiago. I've been to Toulouse, France. I've been to Nanjing, China. I've been to Huntington Beach in California. We had one here in London. Um,
Isn't it
I've been to,
wild the
I've been
places
to
hockey
Italy
can take
twice.
you?
Oh, it's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
phenomenal. And I mean, the good thing about inline hockey is the countries that you're going to for Worlds are a little uh, more diverse, I find. Like it's not you're not stuck to the winter places. Like you're not having World Hockey Championships in Colombia
Right. I
and
was thinking the Columbia one. That must have been
right?
something.
Oh, so hot. It was so hot. It was one of the coolest trips of my life, but it was like you're in full goalie gear and it's June.
Right.
So you're out there on the floor, and for those of you who don't know anything about inline hockey, you can't have water on the floor because that just turns into like an oil slick.
Yeah.
You spill water on the floor, and you're not skating.
No.
So as a goalie in full goalie gear in the middle of summer, it's like 35, 40
Oh,
degrees and it would be like you're skating to the bench and chugging 2 bottles of water, trying to just like electrolytes. You're getting out and you're rolling off into like an ice cold shower because you were just
yeah.
everything was about not overheating.
Oh,
That was
it's the
every
opposite.
part of the game.
When I was playing in Germany, there would be rinks that were open air. Like there would be no wall at the end of the
Columbia was
arena.
open air.
And it would be so cold. Like there would
Yeah.
be water bottles that were frozen. Like the one
Yeah.
game we're in this place in Germany and all the water bottles are frozen and you
I
can't
believe
even
it.
drink water. And then
Yeah.
like when somebody hits you, you're like, oh, please stop. Like
That's so
it's too cold
insulting.
for that. But
Yeah, no.
I do forgetting to go cool places from hockey is 18 years later. I played for Landsuit Cannibals 18 years ago. We had a Cinderella run to the finals,
Yeah.
and they've taken upon themselves to invite me back for a charity game in February. And I
So
get to
cool.
go back to Germany and play hockey one more time and get to see
So
Germany
cool.
again. And they're
They
gonna
need a goalie?
they're paying for my flight and
I
expenses. It
love it.
makes no sense.
I love
But
it.
I've been wanting to get back to Germany ever since I was kindly asked to leave. um, when I didn't get another contract after 6 years there.
Oh,
And you know, but that like I loved it. It's a great
yeah.
place, and to
Yeah.
get to go back and then they're gonna pay for it. I don't really understand why they would ask me, but it's pretty neat, and I can't wait to go.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
amazing. I have a buddy actually who played over there, Goosh. Kerry Goulet. Do you know him?
N- No.
I am only asking because I don't know how many guys here end up
Yeah.
over there for
What was
charity
his
games.
first name?
Kerry.
Terry.
Kerry with a
Carrie
K.
Goulet.
Kerry Goulet.
I don't think I know him. How
He
old
might
would he be?
he's a bit older than you. He
Right.
was over there last year, or the year before for a game in Germany. So
Oh, really?
yeah, yeah.
Well, the
Very cool.
last two times I was invited back were for teammates' jersey retirements, and I
Oh,
couldn't
that's
make it
awesome.
work. And I
Yeah.
haven't been back to Germany. And I've regretted not being there for those guys' games ever since, and
Yeah.
not making it work. And because if
Yeah.
you miss those days, you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's tough, right? I mean, it's there's a balance to that because it's not as though that's just like a drive down the street to the next rink.
No, and you throw in kids in the mix and a real
Yeah.
job and all the
Yeah.
things. Yeah,
Life does happen.
it sure does. Would you have any questions for me while I figure out what to ask you next, if I have anything else?
When you figure out what to ask me
Yeah,
next, what is your favorite color?
mine. Well,
Orange,
I think
orange, black, and white now, I hope.
I guess so. Yeah, I think so because it used to be like blue, and then I don't know. I don't know if I have a favorite color, but I really like this logo. And when I see people like in the UK where I played wearing 2Ls and Hockey Tails jerseys or shirts and
That's
hats,
very cool.
it's just warms my heart because
That's very cool.
I was just wanting to talk to my friends. But I do have a question. I
Yeah,
saw you have a podcast too.
I do. I do. I
You
have this
still at it?
podcast. Yeah, it's called Speak Easy, and I do a lot with it. I'm on a bit of a pause right now again, so I've done 2 seasons of it so far. Um, I've had a lot of kind of big things happening in the past year that have kind of redirected me and put a little bit of perspective into different areas of my life. So
I understand.
yeah, just kind of taking it all in stride and letting it be what it's going to be. I've been on a string here where a lot of people have reached out to do their podcasts. So I mean, people are gonna get sick of hearing my voice if I'm doing mine and all the other ones at the same time. So
Uh,
it's yeah, no, it's great. I love doing it. It's a lot of work doing a podcast too, as you would know, in terms of getting people signed up and trying to manage all that. But I have some pretty cool things coming up that will come to light soon for the world.
Sounds good.
So we'll
Well,
see what
sounds like there's
happens.
some exciting times ahead. I find with the podcast was I did it to be happy, to smile and laugh and see my
I love
friends.
that. I
And
love that.
when you're going through some tough times, there'd
Yeah,
be days where you don't feel like doing it. And
absolutely.
then when I get back on the horse and do one, I felt better.
Yep.
And I remembered that, you just kind of take a break from all the other things and just sit down and chit chat and laugh and smile.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? Like, what a great piece of advice for people who are listening who might not have caught all of the innuendos that exist in that, because I think that there are so many things in life that you don't feel like doing when things aren't going your way. You don't want to be active. You want to eat crap. You don't want to go to bed early. You want to stay up and Netflix and chill. You want to be disconnected and isolated in your
You
misery and
just
all
need
of
a
those
break,
things.
right? You just need a break.
Yeah, but I mean, we take breaks from the wrong things, and that's the
I agree.
problem. You know what?
Yes.
It's really easy to take a break from taking care of ourselves. And because somehow when we feel like junk, taking care of ourselves seems like the hardest work, but in reality, you do the thing that you don't feel like you're doing, and you don't feel that way for anywhere near as long.
Yes, it's I don't plan on slowing down doing these.
I love it.
The amount of fun it's caused around the world and my hockey world,
Yeah,
the funny things that go on. Did you know, fun fact, in Manchester, England now,
I'm
the
so
Manchester
excited. I don't even know what you're going to say, and I'm already excited.
the Manchester Storm, when they win, they throw chocolate all over the ice. The fans do. And
Chocolate.
I started that.
Are you how?
I had started it with the goalie in Cardiff because he was playing where I played and he wanted Twix. So when they'd win, they'd throw Twix on the ice. So then I had the GM and the coach of Manchester on. They were great guys, really liked
Yeah.
them. They're my type of dudes. So then
Yeah.
I had on their captain, who's from out East Canada, one of
Okay.
those salt of the earth boys. And I
Yeah.
said, "Well, do you think we could get something going in Manchester?" I'm like, "I've got it going in Cardiff before, but I've never done anything in Manchester." Like, and I asked what he wanted. He said, "Well, I don't know. I don't care. I just want it for the boys, like just a storm of chocolate." And then
Yeah.
the next game, he went out, scored, fought, they won. And then there was like one or two chocolate bars on the ice. And then the next game there was more, and then
I
more,
love it.
and now
That's
they
awesome.
just cover the ice after every win. And then that captain actually just announced his retirement, and there was chocolate everywhere. And then they just named him the new head coach, so the chocolate is going to continue.
Oh, that's the best. I remember I was playing a game down at UNH and I wasn't familiar with their traditions, and being the visiting goalie, their tradition is as soon as the first goal is scored on the visiting goalie, they heave a fish over the boards at them.
Mm,
I had no idea. I had no idea, and I'm sitting there and goal goes in and all I hear is a splat behind me and I'm like,
what is
"What's
that?
that?" I turn around and this big fish is sliding across the ice at me. Like, is this like a Fisher thing or is this an so I had to wait till the end of the I was like, "Why are you throwing fish at me?" They're like, "Oh, we do it at everybody." I was like, "Oh, I thought it
No,
was special."
I do like hockey traditions like that.
Yeah.
Mine this year coaching was and didn't matter what rink we were in, I would go put my net on before the boys. I would go out and put the net on so I knew it was ready for my team, and I'd leave the other one and whatever. The refs can put that on. So I go put my net on, and then it'd be time to go in for the pregame speech. And that was my routine, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um
we've all got them. I'm not even getting into mine. My goodness, I'm
no,
a goalie. Those
yeah.
things will get me locked up.
Yeah. Oh, there's some weird stuff that goes on with hockey players in the world.
You're not wrong. You're
Yeah.
not wrong. It's
Uh,
and I do love it. I do actually have one question before you leave me.
yes.
Who you got? Who you got for the Stanley Cup? Who's your team?
Oh, I don't watch enough, but
Yeah.
I do think that your best players need to play the right way, and I don't
Yeah.
think people want to hear my answer, but um well, last year when Florida won,
Mhm.
um one of their scouts was my line mate in Germany,
Mhm.
and I wrote to say congrats, and I was watching it on TV, and then he sent me a photo of him holding the Stanley Cup while I was still watching it on TV. While he was standing on the
Oh,
ice,
that's so
he
cool.
he messaged me a picture of him with the Stanley Cup, and I was like, "Oh my
Yeah.
God, my friend just won the Stanley Cup." And then
Yeah.
I just found out that my buddy I played minor hockey with in Elmira, and we were both 83s and won all Ontario's pretty well all the time.
Yeah.
That played in the NHL, Dennis Weidman. He is now a scout and player development for Florida as well. So I
Oh,
know
really?
two guys in their office.
No, don't want to hear it.
So you
You
probably don't want me to
stop right
finish what
there.
I'm saying.
No, you're done. You're cut
Okay.
off. Meh. Cue
But
the closing music.
I also have history with the Leafs that didn't go that well. So
Okay.
I was at my cottage here at Bruce Beach in Kincardine, and
Yeah.
I just finished at Western Michigan. I was a free agent. And my agent says the Leafs want to sign you. Go, you're gonna go to the Air Canada Center tomorrow and meet with everybody. I went, did the fitness test, had the interviews. They said everything went great.
Yeah.
And I left there thinking, I'm signing with my favorite team my whole life. This is the
Yeah.
coolest day ever. I had the windows down, music playing, having a day. And
Yeah.
then they needed more time. They needed more time. They were dealing with the big fish. And then my deadline with Columbus was July 15th or something, and they had
Yeah.
guaranteed me a contract, but I had that day to decide. And the Leafs said they needed more time. So then I ended up having to take that, and it never happened. And so I was a little sour with them for a few years, you know?
That's fair. That's fair. That wouldn't sit in a
Mm.
way that necessarily made them your first pick.
No, but I do think they've gotten tougher this year. I think they have
Yeah.
winners on their team now.
Yeah.
I don't think that was always the case. I don't know if their top guys are actually playoff performers. I don't know when the going gets tough if they really do, though. So,
Okay. Okay.
mm,
We'll
that's
make our bets off air.
okay. But no, they do like that. Tanev, he's the type of guy I'm looking for in the playoffs. You know, that will do
Oh,
whatever it takes.
he's been great. He's been
Yeah,
great. I mean, I'm a diehard Leafs fan, so
yeah. So you're gonna say them. I get it.
I'm gonna say them, but I'm also gonna say that there have been a lot of times that I wanted to say them that I didn't necessarily think
Believe
it
it.
was possible.
Hmm.
This year feels different. This year does feel different. They've got a different mentality and a different air, and I'm not feeling the panic
Okay.
that usually scares me about the Leafs, and I'm pretty good with panic. I'm pretty good with, like
Well,
pretty
I
good
do
on
like
that
I
one.
like their coach. I like how calm he is, and
Yeah,
he has
yeah,
the right demeanor about him. And you
yeah,
know, players play can get the personality of the coach type of thing. And I
yeah,
think they're playing tougher. They're playing harder. They're playing more playoff
yeah.
hockey than I've seen in other years.
And they're playing both ends, which is also different. I mean,
Yes,
I think there's always been an obvious divide in terms of who is your offense and who is your defense, and I'm seeing people play both ends of the ice this year in a way that hasn't necessarily shown up in the past.
and that's the only way you're going to win.
100%, 100%. And I think that yeah, I have a lot of hope for a lot of reasons, but
Well, it would sure be cool for like Ontario because there's so
yeah,
many Leafs fans, and I know what it's been like. I mean, it was a long time ago that they were in the semis against Wayne Gretzky with Doug Gilmour and all the
yeah,
boys. You know, that's a
yeah,
long time ago now.
yeah, yeah. It's been a while.
Yeah,
I was I was around.
yeah, and that was exciting times as a kid. And you know, it would be cool for all the kids around if the Leafs do go on a run,
Yeah.
and the
Well,
adults.
and I mean, I do some work with some of the guys on the team, so obviously,
Well,
again, I have more personal relationships with the Leafs than I do with any of the other teams, so
well, and that's going to make you cheer for them more too.
100%, 100%.
That's why I was cheering for Florida because I know those guys,
I
and
mean,
I don't know anybody on the Leafs.
like I said, I that makes perfect sense. You cheer for
Friends.
success and the people you care about, absolutely.
Yes, it's weird for me because watching a hockey game where I know people, I'm way more invested in it than if I don't know anybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I
I
like it.
could now that I've coached so many teams around here, like every time I go to the rink, there's a game on and there's somebody I've coached. I'm like, oh, I
Yeah.
gotta watch.
I'm just gonna live here.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah, I
just
can
gonna
put in
make a
some
seat
time
for
there.
you. That's awesome.
But yeah, no, I'm pretty excited. The arena guy, I just dropped off our banners after our parade through Kincardine, and
Mhm.
he said he's gonna find a special place in the arena for our new banner. So
Yeah,
yeah, you'll have to check it out next time you're in the Davison Center.
I will for sure. It's one of my favorite buildings in the world.
Yeah, I've spent some time there over the last few years, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for making the time for me. I know you're busy, and it's pretty neat to see someone after the struggles you've had come out the other side and be as successful as you are. And you obviously you look happy, you look healthy, and you know, I think that's what we all want in life, right?
I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Okay. And this has been another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Fish and Wally.